Hello, everybody. Welcome to Till the Whistle Blows podcast. My name is Sam, and today we are going to talk about the NBA. Now, I'm recording this on the 17th, so the dates may be a little weird. Maybe talking about a little stuff when this comes out. But important dates. NBA draft starts on the 18th. Free agency will open on the 20th. Players can sign contracts, I believe, a little later. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to double check that. But just the big one, too. They can sign contracts on the 22nd, and we will have opening night on December 22nd. Now, those are pretty big. That's pretty interesting that we're going to be getting. The NBA is starting to come back slowly but surely. It'll be here sooner than you think. But with that also, earlier this week, the NBA, the trades are allowed to be made. So a few trades have been made. But a lot of people are saying some of the stuff are already like big deals, but I don't know. So why don't we talk about this first one here that I see here? The Milwaukee Bucks have made a few trades. They're the ones that have been making the trades. So if you're watching on YouTube, I've got my Giannis Antetokounmpo jersey on. But we'll talk about this first one. They went out and got Bojan Bogdanovic, a solid player. So they received Bojan. They received Justin James, and what they have to give up is Dante DiVincenzo, which is an interesting pick because I always thought he was an amazing defender. Ersan Ilyasova, who's a nice big man, and DJ Wilson, who I think is just a bench player. But so they're giving up a lot more for Bogdan, but I don't know if that's really a good. I think they're losing out on Dante. I get they're trying to bring pieces around Giannis, as I always like to mention when I do these NBA talks. Like they always try to get like someone to help him. But like yes, he's a good shooter, but like he's like more of like I don't know how I feel about it. It's a very interesting move that they did, but we'll see what happens there. It should open up the court a little bit for him because now you're getting a shooter on the outside, and it's more help around there. Like Chris Middleton's out on the outside, and the other trade they made too was Drew Holiday and a 2020 second rounder, and they gave up Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, the first round for this year, the 24th pick. They swap in 2024, the unprotected 2025, first round swap rights in 2026. And 2027 first round unprotected, and the Bucks gave way too much for Drew Holiday. Why are they selling in so hard on this guy? Like he's not the greatest. He's not going to change the whole team. They're already deeming it a big three. It's not a big three. Chris Middleton, yeah, he's an all-star, but he's not that great. And Drew Holiday is not as good as Chris Middleton. So why are we calling this a big three? Like that's crazy. So they bring in Bogdan, they bring in Drew, and they bring in Justin James, who's probably not going to get any playing time. So you're going to have probably a rotation. You're going to have a starting lineup. I'm not too sure about point guard just yet, but they have Drew Holiday. They're going to have, actually, I don't know, maybe one of the Lopez, probably Brook at center. They're going to have Drew Holiday at the shooting guard. Point guard still up in the air. You're going to have Chris Middleton at small forward. And then you're going to have Giannis at the power forward. Well, I think they kind of downgraded a little bit. I think they should have saved onto this until free agency and then go from there. Like there's so many other things they could have done in here. So the Bucks definitely are making some questionable moves here. Now the Rockets are, I think, trading away Robert Covington. I don't know if this is official yet, but they traded Robin Covington. They got Trevor Ariza back for some reason. So they got rid of Trevor to bring him back. Then they're getting a 2020 first round pick and a 2021 protected first round. So all that's going to Portland. Oh, no, that's going to Houston. I'm sorry. So Portland wanted Robert Covington that badly that they would give up Trevor Ariza. But look, Robert Covington's a great defender. He was put in a shit situation. So hopefully now that he's in Portland, they have some good big men. Hopefully now that means what's going to happen is that Portland's going to, like Joseph Nurkic, Dame Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Covington could be like a good four. And then I don't know who they're putting at power forward just yet. We'll find out later. But that should be dangerous. Maybe put Nurkic and then have Hassan Whiteside step in as center. Or put Robert Covington at the power, Carmelo if they keep him around. But the Portland Trailblazers seem like they're at a good spot. The Rockets are in the middle of blowing it up, though. Westbrook wants out, Harden wants out. But I'm going to get a little more into that Harden stuff later. I want to continue just talking about some of the big trades here. But that's a decent one right there. Then we have the Suns, who got CP3 off of the Thunder. Now, the Suns, they give up Kelly Oubre Jr., Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, Jalen LeQuay, and 2022 first-round pick, and they got Chris Paul and Abdel Nadir. Now, I like that trade. Does it put them to championship contenders? No. Does it get them in the playoffs? Yes. I think with Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and like that just right there, I think that's going to get them. Oh, I'm sorry, not Kelly Oubre, right? Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. That three right there, I think that puts them over the top. They had an amazing bubble when they were there. I think now that they add Chris Paul with a good veteran leadership there, that's like kind of a young team to help them get over the top. I think that's going to get them to the playoffs. I don't know what they're going to do from there, though. Unfortunately, you cannot predict the playoffs with Chris Paul because he seems to kind of falter around. In terms of the Thunder, I think they're starting to lose a little pieces because as well as this Chris Paul trade, they also just traded away Dennis Schroeder. I'm going to skip a little ahead here. They traded Dennis Schroeder for Danny Green and their first-round pick for the Lakers, so they have the 28th pick now. So they are loaded on picks. They have a lot of first-round picks coming up in the near future, and they lose Dennis Schroeder. So they could still be a good team because they still have Shea, who's an amazing player, and like Steven Adams is still a great center as well. So they could still do like dangerous stuff there. They still have a lot of dangerous pieces, and they're going to get bigger and better as they grow. It's going to be amazing to see what would happen. And in terms of the Lakers, so they're trying to keep their core. They're probably going to lose Rondo. AD, yes, he declined his player option, but he wants to be the Lakers in the long term, so they're going to rework a deal real quick, and they're going to go from there. LeBron, he's still LeBron. He's still going to be amazing, but we got to see what they add. They got to bring pieces in. They're trying to trade for DeMar DeRozan. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that one done, especially now that they lost Danny Green for Dennis Schroeder, but we're going to see what would happen there. And the last one that's happened so far as of this recording, which is the 17th, the Nets acquire Brown for Musa. That's not really a crazy one. Bruce Brown for Dezana Musa and a 2021 pick from Toronto. And I don't know. That's not the craziest deals of all. But the big one here is, so I want to get into this before we talk about more free agency. The James Harden wants to go to, he's trying to go to New Orleans, not New Orleans. He's trying to go to Brooklyn. He wants to go to Brooklyn. He wants to play with Kevin Durant, and he wants to play with Kyrie. That's who it is. Kyrie. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the free agency list. But I don't know how well that's going to work because, you know what? He's a ball-dominant player. So I don't know how I feel. It's going to be an interesting thing. I don't know if they're going to make a trade work. I don't know how they're going to do it. But if they do pull it off, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I really don't know. It's going to be weird. It's going to be really weird to see coming up. All right, so as I brought up Portland, we do have, so here's some of the free agents that I wanted to talk about. I just pulled up the list. So yeah, Bojan is now to the Bucks. We're not worried about him anymore. We have Gordon Hayward, who could be easily on the, who's player option right now. So if he declines his player option, I don't see really anyone picking him up. He had a bad injury. He's kind of regressing as of late. He's not doing so hot anymore. And he really kind of got messed up after that leg injury. So his role is definitely going to be diminished here. So I think it would be in his best interest to pick up that player option and just stick with Boston for another year to try to gain some value. Another player option player, Andre Drummond, there was a report that he would pick it up and he would stay with the team. I think that Cleveland team could be on the up and up if they get away from LeBron's shadow. They're going to try to do probably work on that young core. Andre Drummond, not really the youngest guy anymore. Yeah, he's 27. So he's still got some years in him. It should be fun to watch. Now, for some of the real unrestricted free agents, Paul Millsap. Denver, I don't know if Denver's going to let him go. I think they're going to want to keep him around. He is 35. He's on the older side of things. I don't know how well he's going to be doing, but I think that'd be a good pickup for them. Keep him around. I thought he did very well for them ever since coming over. In the, during that playoff run during the bubble, he really kind of solidified as a defensive player. Like he's definitely taken it. He's not the star on this team. He knows that, and he's a good, solid defensive player. Anthony Davis, we were talking about him. He's just trying to get a longer contract for the Lakers, so I don't see him going anywhere. Now, this is the one I was talking about, though, with Portland. Now, I said put him at center, but Hassan Whiteside is an unrestricted free agent, so it's going to be interesting to see if they want to keep him. I don't know if that's going to be what they want to do, though, because he's ever since Miami, he hasn't really performed as well. He's not really out there putting up like those huge defense that he used to do before. So it'd be interesting to see if they pick him up. two Raptors that are on the free agency list here, Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, both on the older side, but they're also really good defense. Like Marc Gasol, he worked on his game ever since coming here from Memphis, so I don't see Toronto wanting to let him go, and I don't think they want to let go of Serge either because he's like their big defensive presence, so they're going to probably... I would want to see them make a huge play to keep them around. Oh, man. Sorry. So definitely want to keep those defensive cores in there. Danilo Gallinari, he's on the older end. And OKC seems like they're starting to sell some of the older veterans, so I don't see them wanting to bring him back. We're probably going to end up seeing him on a different team next year. Jeff Teague, I don't think... they got Trae Young. I think he's the star of that team now. I think Jeff Teague is going to start walking. He might even be gone out of the league. Derek Favors, he has not been as good. He hasn't really been good. But I think having him as a backup power forward for Zion would be good, though. He's definitely a good backup player. Definitely keep him around for that one. Now, I do like the Miami Heat. They had a great run last year, and I think Goran Dragic was a big part of that. He is an unrestricted free agent this year. It's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with him. If they reach out and try to give him a contract, that would be a great thing, but I think they might be moving towards like the younger core now. These guys like Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero, and all them with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. So I don't know. Like I like Goran, but I don't know what they're going to do with him. They might not keep him around. Let's see. Who? Marvin Bagley, I think they're going to keep him. He's not really going anywhere. Now, Montrezl Harrell. Now, he's a big guy for the Clippers. Yeah, so he's unrestricted. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't think they're going to let him go. He was a sixth man of the year. Him and Lou Will coming off the bench is amazing for them. I don't see him going nowhere. Ooh, Fred VanVleet. So this Toronto team, they have a lot of contracts to pay out now because he's also an unrestricted free agent. So he might be... So someone might be going here depending on what they want to do. Like he was a great asset for them during that championship run with Kawhi. I don't know how they're going to do it, but we're going to have to see what happens with them. And then Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, I don't see him coming back to the Lakers. He wasn't. I don't know how he. I don't know how he will be doing in terms of that. He really wasn't a big key for that Lakers anymore. I feel like he kind of faded out. Joe Harris, the 3-point specialist. I think if the Brooklyn Nets really want to keep rolling around. Sorry if I'm also hopping around. I'm just trying to. This is not going to be the long episode. It's going to be kind of a quick, kind of run through. So Joe Harris, he's a nice 3-point specialist. He's on free agency right now, and I think if the Brooklyn Nets are kind of serious here, I think they'd want to keep him around. I think he'd be a nice number 3 piece, if not even number 3, just a nice shooting guy to have. If they even get James Harden, just someone to complement those shoots. Avery Bradley's a player option. Let's see if he gets that picked up. Alex Len, not really too exciting. Robin Lopez actually is an unrestricted free agent, so we'll have to see what happens there. He might not be coming back. He could be going elsewhere, but I thought that was a good fit for him in Milwaukee with his brother, him, Giannis. I thought that was a good judge, big 3 of bigs. I thought that was really, really good. Kyle Korver, he's also an unrestricted free agent. I don't know why they're listing Vince Carter, but he's retired. So a lot of the Lakers are unrestricted, and a lot of the Raptors seem like. So those two are going to be interesting to see what they want to do here. Now, I'd like to see the Lakers maybe try to get... I think getting... what the hell? DeMar DeRozan, I think that'd be interesting. I think that would be good for them. I really do. I think they need to definitely get those going in there. It'd be interesting. They need to get some younger players too, because they're definitely a lot older than a lot of the other teams. But they still got it done because you don't count out LeBron. So it's gonna be an interesting free agency when that opens up. But why don't we get a little more into the draft? So the draft starts as of this recording. It should have already happened, unless I get this out quickly, but I don't think I will. So it should have already happened. So I'm not too sure, but I'm gonna just kind of give kind of a little draft interest here. So I know the Timberwolves are thinking not to go LaMelo, but to go Anthony Edwards. Now, Anthony Edwards definitely seems like he's the most pro-ready from what all the reports are saying about it. So I wouldn't see it too out of the ordinary for Minnesota to go for him number 1. I don't know. So, yes, LaMelo already has the most pro experience with Lithuania. He has Australia, the JBA, and all that stuff. He's played the most competition. But we got to know, you got to see what happens after this, because his brother Lonzo was supposed to be really great too, but His dad was kind of a head case for everyone, and they kind of screwed him a little bit, and he kind of got screwed there a little bit in LA. I'm only gonna go for like probably the top 4 picks, top 5, but he got a little screwed there. So I think maybe passing on LaMelo for right now might be good for the Timberwolves because they're not the greatest team around right now, but they are trying to figure it out. Anthony Edwards, I think, would be a great fit, a good number 2. So if you get Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl Anthony Towns, I think that would be a great, great setup for them. I think they'd do some good stuff there. Number 2, we have the Warriors. I think they just need to get that big in James Wiseman. I think everyone's projecting it. I think that's a really good pickup. I'm only going to do the top 3 because I think LaMelo is going to go 3rd, and I still have a few other things I want to go over. But I think James Wiseman would be good. You get Curry coming back. You got Klay Thompson coming back. I think Draymond will start playing like Draymond again. And you get James Wiseman as a good center there. That team, it's going to come back. They're going to come roaring in for you. And then I think the Hornets might pick up LaMelo. They could use it. They only have Scary Terry. They don't really have too much else going on there. Honestly, it's not really going too well for the Charlotte team. They're paying way too much for Scary Terry there, Terry Rozier. But you know what? It'll be interesting to see. We'll have to see what they do. But you know what? So there's still a lot to do in the NBA. You know, like I said, you got all this stuff coming up. You got the draft. You got free agency. You got the season. It's going to be interesting to see. The Lakers are already trying to make a move to figure out what they want to do next. The Rockets look like they're blowing it up. They lost D'Antoni. They're going to lose Harden because he doesn't want to be there. They're going to lose Russell. And it's going to be hard for them. Honestly, I don't see the Rockets being well anymore. They're definitely going to be falling under here. They're going to be going down, down, down. When it comes to Russell trade, though, I don't think any team is going to work well with him. Russell needs to be the man, and no team wants him to be the man anymore. He's not the man anymore, unfortunately. He has to he's going to have to accept the role that he's going to be probably not the number 1 player unless he goes to the Knicks. And if he really wants to go to the Knicks, then let him go to the Knicks. Honestly, that's fine. I don't know. As I've been recording, I do see Rodney Hood has declined his $6 million option with the Blazers, so he will be a free agent. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. But so the Rockets are blowing it up. Chris Paul already got traded, so the Thunder already figured out what they want to do. So the Nets are really the big one, though. So James Harden wants to go to the Nets. I don't see that working out well. Well, first we have to see what Kevin Durant is like, because there's no way Durant's going to come back and be 100% the way he was. He's going to be kind of just like, he's not going to be ready to go. He's not going to be full steam ahead. Then when it comes to Kyrie, there's going to be a lot of issues here. So we got to see what they do. Joe Harris, like I said, he's on the free agency list. We got to see what happens. Do they make a trade? Do they not? I don't know. I don't even know if they have the assets anymore. So I don't know what they're going to do. And then lastly, I guess we'll touch up the Knicks, sell the team. But if they're really serious about something, they need to make a big splash here. If they go get Russell, get him some keep, like you could easily build a team around Russell Westbrook in New York. I think they if they want to try, they should try. But if they're not going to try, then why bother and then just move on? I don't know what to tell you about these Knicks anymore. But they just don't do anything well. They really don't. And you know, when we get closer to the NBA season, I'll do a little more in-depth stuff after everything has happened, everything's said and done when we get around there. But like, why bother then? Like, no one on the Knicks is even trying at this point. They got like nobodies. They're ruining Frank Ntilikina. They ruined Kevin Knox. They're gonna ruin Dennis Smith Jr. Mitchell Robinson is the only one on that team really trying at the moment, and even that's gonna get ruined. So I really hope if they're not gonna try, get Mitchell Robinson out and put him on a real team. That's my rant on the Knicks. I'm not gonna discuss any more on the Knicks here. So look, I know this is gonna be just kind of a short episode. It's not really much. It's more of kind of like a bridge gap between, since the draft is coming up and then between the season. So I want to touch base on it a few more times. But this is really what's going to happen. It's going to be a short little quick episode. I'm sorry for all that information that I've just threw at you kind of quickly here. Just make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and we will keep you updated throughout it as we hear it. And hopefully it'll be a fun, interesting NBA draft. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.